Some standing water we're crossing through here in the Lyriq. This is about the most off-roading this thing will ever see. Well, hello there everyone. We are going to go on a little bit of an airport trip in the Cadillac Lyriq. I think this is a pretty appropriate vehicle to be doing so. It's kind of like a livery kind of car, very luxurious, spacious, almost like the electric version of the gas Cadillac XT5. And I want to check out a few different things on this road trip. We're going to test the Supercruise, we're going to test our efficiency, and we do actually have our trip is cleared right now. Current trip has been cleared. I'm going to clear trip 1 as well. To do that, hold this button to reset it, just to make sure we have that. And we are going to open up we're using Waze in this one. I'm also going to use the vehicles inbuilt Google navigations just to check out to see if we can estimate a percentage of when we're going to get there and back, which would be cool. And quick tour around the exterior of this thing. We currently have around 233 miles of range. All blacked out Cadillac Lyriq. It's a pretty cool spec. Pretty much almost top of the line as well. I did charge it before. We have around 80%, or I think 77% stated charge in this battery pack. So I think we're doing pretty well in terms of juice. It's only around, I think, 100 miles round trip. So it shouldn't be too bad on this thing. Pretty aerodynamic, I think, for what it is, though these 22-inch wheels may not be the most best thing for efficiency at all in terms, honestly, but it just looks so cool. I see people everywhere just looking at it when I'm driving it around. It just has such a presence on the roads and has a lot of nice space as well. Back seats are really wide, a lot of leg room back here. I think it's a good amount of space, a nice big panoramic glass roof. We also have a pretty decent amount of trunk space as well. I have it loaded up with some of my stuff right now, which is kind of a mess, apologies, but you can see it's pretty good. I can fit a few suitcases back here as well, so I think it's not that bad of space. You don't really have any underfloor storage though, which I think is okay. No frunk either at all. And of course our charge port door is right here. Makes a funky sound, but nonetheless that is there if you need it. Pop out door handles. And we are about to head off. So we have a lot of nice comfort features in the Lyriq as well. We have heated and ventilated seats, we have massage, we have obviously Supercruise heated steering wheel, cup holders that have this fun little feature here, cool ambient lighting that will come on in a little bit, hopefully when it gets darker out. This is a great camera feature, and that great big panoramic glass roof. So let's get started on this drive. I'm going to pop on my energy screen for us now so we can have a look at that, and we'll head off on this journey. The Lyriq has been supremely comfortable to drive around, going to be completely honest, this week. It's a comfort, luxury-oriented vehicle, not really whatsoever tuned for sporty or dynamic driving at all, but I think that's perfectly fine. This is a good purpose for this vehicle, and yes, it's a little bit on the pricier end, but I think there's pretty good rebates, I think, going on, and especially if you're like a Uber driver or look at a black car driver, airport driver, taxi driver, this is probably going to be a really popular vehicle for you. We got some standing water we're crossing through here in the Lyriq. This is about the most off-roading this thing will ever see. Now we are beginning our journey with the best present of all times, traffic. And a lot of traffic at that. But I think that's a great way to test out the capabilities of the Lyriq, its comfort capabilities, especially here on the highway. And already I can see the Supercruise symbol popping up here on the dash. I'm going to actually put it in a different display so it's a little more apparent for you guys. Heck, we'll put it in the assistant display as well. So this is going to show us our Supercruise display, and Supercruise is fantastic. It is one of the more advanced driver assistance systems on the market, right up there with the Ford and Lincoln's Blue Cruise systems. They're really great, and they're true hands-free driving experiences on those selected pre-approved roads that have been mapped out already and are all safe to be used. So here we are on one of these many pre-approved highways. I think this is 287, 87 over here in New York, and as you can see here, whenever that big giant steering wheel icon pops up, you have Supercruise. And when Supercruise isn't available, you do still have regular full adaptive radar cruise and everything, just not with the hands-free capability that you can get with Supercruise. So turning it on, very easy. You just press the button here. See, the blue light indicates that it's activating, and green means we're ready to go. Got to a more highway safe speed here, and it's green, so now it's ready to go. That was a little bit of an unsafe move from that motorcycle right there. And it also changes lanes for you when it deems it safe to do so. Sometimes in some conditions it doesn't deem it safe to do so, and when it's in like a transitionary phase, it'll do that blue blinking that we just saw right there. In other cases it will blink red, which means it'll start vibrating the seat for you, and blinking at you meaning to take control. So those are really all the stages of Supercruise, but it is a wonderful tool to have in traffic here. And honestly, it's one of the more trust and confidence inspiring systems that I've come to be living with so far. It really is pretty solid. And it's even better out here on stop and go traffic because it just is driving itself essentially, and you can, you know, fiddle around with the infotainment system. You really do have a lot of confidence in the system. Obviously, you always have to have your hands ready to take over control. You're still the one driving. It's an assistance system, not full autonomous driving. So you have to keep that in mind. And of course you can change your following distance here. But out here on the highway, again, we may be in stop and go traffic, but the Lyriq is quite comfortable. Very soft, luxurious suspension. It's very floaty like, and we also have pretty good efficiency. So if I'm going to go back to my efficiency numbers here, we may have only traveled 3 miles and we are in stop and go traffic, and EVs are a lot better in stop and go traffic and city driving versus higher speed highway driving. So 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour is okay, but generally on highway this thing's going to get around 2.8 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour, which is it's okay. Good EVs are going to be way over in the mid 3.5-ish range. So this could be better, but I think those larger wheels may be hampering its efficiency just a little bit. Now on the highway, I always like to say that the best thing to do when driving an EV on the highway is turn off one pedal driving. I actually have it off right now. You can turn it on and off with this button right here. So this turns it on and turn it off. So why I say that is because when you're on the highway, you don't want to be having your foot on the pedal the entire time. You want to just let it coast, and that's really efficient for EVs because the motors aren't using any battery power, and heck, they may be even generating some power as well at the same time. So with a little bit of just natural regen from wind resistance or from a car in front of you. So that's great. I think it's better to coast on highways with EVs, let their aerodynamic shapes carry you through the wind or whatever. I think that's how you're going to kind of squeeze a lot of the efficiency out of these things to the maximum capability. But that's just how I like to drive my EVs when I have them over here for review. You can see here we're just coasting along, and it's naturally just getting 18 kilowatts regenning, and we're just coasting along in traffic here, versus if you have one pedal driving on, you have to keep your foot on the accelerator the entire time, modulating the regen. And this has a great feature with this little paddle here where you can adjust the regen as well. So far good with efficiency numbers. Interesting note here is when you go to like the charging information screen, you actually get locked out while you're driving, so you can't actually change any of the charging controls while you're driving, which I think is a little bit odd. You can see some efficiency numbers if you go to your vehicle information. You go to energy info, that will give you like your energy usage in the vehicle. So we can see we have climate and fast charging preconditioning. It'll tell you how many kilowatt hours you've used for that. It'll tell me how many kilowatt hours I've used in driving. So we'll keep an eye on this throughout this drive, which is going to be fun. And I can actually add this card, I believe, to my gauge cluster up here. If I press this button, add to driver's display, now it's going to show up right here. So this is a fun little feature to have, kind of monitor your energy usage. I think I'm going to keep that up there. These have more in-depth screens, but again, you can't use them while you're driving. Cadillac locks that out from you. We also have efficiency graphs, which are pretty nice, and I could even throw this up onto my gauge up here. Honestly, I think we're going to throw this one up here as well, because this is pretty fun. It shows us how much energy we've regenerated, our average miles per kilowatt hours, as well as our total trip distance. And it really has a cool graph here that you can also look at. There's a few other displays like tire information as well as air quality information. I actually think that's a really cool feature. So it shows you what your air quality is on the interior of the vehicle while you're driving. So that's a fun touch as well. So a lot of fun graphs and gauges going on in the Lyriq. I like the amount of information they're giving you. So again, I always say that some EV manufacturers, or even new EVs, just don't include enough information for being EVs. There's a lot of new stuff in here that you need to kind of see as a driver, and maybe it's going to help you to learn. And I love when they include all that great information. So thank you, Cadillac, for doing so. Okay guys, you join me as we're re-entering the highway. We're just on about like 10 miles, I think, of just back roads because there's so much traffic. The Waze decided to take me on these roads, and there's another one. A absolutely massive pothole snuck up on me. Unfortunately, I wasn't filming on the front right passenger side, and I genuinely thought either the wheel cracked, the tire blew, or the suspension just like it was the loudest, hardest feeling noise I have ever experienced in a car. I immediately threw up the tire pressure screen up here to make sure everything's okay. So we've been going for about another 5-6 miles and no issues so far, so that's okay. But really scary. And you know, the suspension is very soft and it's very comfortable. It kind of floats around, but I think these gigantic 22-inch wheels really don't translate harsher bumps and stuff into the cabin well in terms of noise, and just like, it's like this crashing sound. You don't really feel it. I think it's kind of washed out, which is like the floatiness of this car, but like that crash sound, it's just so harsh, and it's something you have to just deal with these larger wheels. They look great in some cases, in BMW cases for the iX, they even get you better efficiency for some reason versus the smaller wheels. But oh wow, that was scary. Anyways, guys, we have traveled 14 miles so far. 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour is what we are getting right now, and that's not super good. I want to pop back up that screen that we had on before I went to go check my tire status or energy information. So we've again traveled 14.3 miles on this trip so far. 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour is our average, and we've regened 5.8 miles worth of range, which is still quite nice. So we will definitely come back now that we're on the open highway cruising. So we'll come back to this and I'll update you guys later on. Well guys, we are nearly at our destination here at Newark Liberty Airport. Not my favorite place in the world, but we are on our way there. We have done 41.3 miles so far with a 3.0 miles per kilowatt hour efficiency rating on this trip. So honestly, better than I was expecting. On the last trip I did around the same distance, was around 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So different numbers we're seeing this time, a little more efficient. We were definitely more just coasting and cruising. There's a lot of slower traffic as well, so that could be expected. Why we saw a little bit of better numbers here than just going much quicker on longer stretches of highway road. We can see here we have a cool little graph here, 3 miles per kilowatt hour, which I love that touch. And we also have our vehicle status graphs here. Let me just see what exit we're going into. And we have our status graphs here where we can check out vehicle status and see our energy information. We can just check this real quick. So we gained 14.5 miles from our regen, which is really impressive, and 3 miles per kilowatt hour over this 41 miles. So really, really good stuff here. Really, really good stuff here. So quite impressed with the Lyriq. Obviously not the most efficient vehicle at all, but for what it is, it's pretty good. A lot of space, cool shape, really cool looks, and very comfortable, quiet, and just so smooth on the highway. And if you really need Supercruise, I would definitely get it if you can bump up and afford that option. It's a pretty good system, and it is very dynamic and feels safe and confident in driving. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this short little trip over to Newark Airport, and I will continue to throw in some more information for you guys here, a little more information on Supercruise. Stay tuned for some more videos coming out as well. Cheers.